not a problem. Firstly, I want to thank the organisers for putting this on. So it's great to have an opportunity for each of us to explain what we can bring to our community. I've enjoyed this process. I'm a political rookie. I've only been involved for 3 months, but it's been great to get to know everyone and what each of us want to bring to the table. We currently live in a country with sky-high housing, rising inequality, and a declining environment. And our current political party's response has been a failed Kiwi build, no change to our welfare trap, and a zero carbon bill that does zero reduced carbon. They are slaves to opinion polls, unwilling to change from the status quo. This is where TOP comes in. We are real-world people willing to make the big changes to deliver real-world solutions. The Opportunities Party is built on policy that works around the world and converted it to New Zealand context.
So my name is Gaurav. I am the Labour Party candidate for Hamilton West. Nice to be back here at St. Peter's. I was here last week at the Police Remembrance Day. Just want to quickly thank Mrs. Kapoor, who's probably, I think I've seen you about 10 times this week at various events, so thank you for all the work you do, and especially for the National Council of Women as well, and to Dean Wendy. So I'm just going to quickly talk to you about a little bit about myself and what my background is. So I was born in the Himalayas in India. I moved here when I was 12. Initially when my parents came here, my dad was homeless for a long time. He ate at Auckland City Mission. He used to sleep in Auckland Domain. Didn't get a job in his field of work for 6 years. He's an electrical engineer. I went to Auckland Grammar. When I was at school, I got an opportunity to do some extracurricular stuff. I decided to do scuba diving and working in a restaurant. Absolutely enjoyed my time working in a restaurant, so decided that I was going to drop the scuba diving and work as a caregiver at the restaurant. That encouraged me to study medicine at the University of Auckland. When I was at medical school, got involved in policy making. So at 19, I helped write a couple of health policies for New Zealand. That led me to go and work for the World Health Organization in Geneva, and later work for public policy in Spain. I also spent a bit of time in Mongolia, where I realized that as a doctor I was just working one-to-one, but I needed to figure out a way to help people at a larger level. So ended up going and doing a business degree in America as a Fulbright scholar, and then got involved in policy, because I think we need people from the ground who understand health policy, who understand healthcare. So in a pandemic time, what better person to have than somebody who's got a medical background, works as a GP in Norton, but also has a business background.
I'd just like to highlight just a few of the things that the government have achieved locally in this region over the past 3 years. So the first one is around education. The polytechs were merged across the country. There was a contestable process for the headquarters, and Hamilton won the bid to host the headquarters of the polytech merger across New Zealand. My understanding, it's the first time Hamilton has ever hosted the headquarters of a government agency. We've also been given the headquarters of the Criminal Cases Review Commission as well. It's a sign that Hamilton is really coming of age in terms of its status across the country.
Tēnā tātou katoa, ngā mihi nui ki a koutou ko te Makindo Tokaringawa. I am the sitting MP for Hamilton West and the National Party candidate. I've had the great privilege of representing the city for 12 years. I want to acknowledge my good friend and colleague David Bennett, the MP for Hamilton East, who's held his seat for 15 years. We bring to this election tremendous experience of representing our constituents and in advocating for really significant projects for this city. And I want to suggest to you that that has never been more important than it is in this period as we look at recovering from the huge economic impact of COVID. Could I also thank the National Council of Women, and Suman, thank you for your chairing of this event. The last time I was on stage with Dean Wendy, I inadvertently referred to her as Dame Wendy. She did tell me afterwards. She thought that was actually quite good. But Dean Wendy, thank you for your initiative, and thank you to all the audience for being here tonight. It's tremendously encouraging for the candidates to have an audience. There hasn't been a lot of interest in this campaign so far, and there's been no local media coverage of local campaign issues.
And I'm standing for Advanced New Zealand for Hamilton East. If you want to know about me, just read in the Waikato Times. It's all fake news. So you're welcome. Look, on the 24th of September this year, the BBC announced China's newest, richest man as a bottled water tycoon, Zhong Zhangjian, with 58.7 billion to his name. He's the owner of Nong Fu, a Chinese company with their first overseas bottling plant in Whakatane. That plant is committed to siphon 580 million litres per year at a total cost of $2,000. This deal was done by John Key's national government. We have since then, we've sold off a whole lot more. Silver Fern Farms, Peachy Raisins, Western Milk, Sinlay, and so on, to overseas investors. We are a very wealthy country, but we've given it away to other nations and corporations all around the world.
My name is Jack Geelan and I'm standing for the Republic of New Zealand Party. I'd like to thank Dean Wendy for including me, the Republic of New Zealand Party and the Allied Party. I've taken past the Winslade from the Baptist Church to the Human Rights Commission for being anti-democratic and repressing freedom of speech, excluding us. Freedom of speech is a democratic right of everyone. The alternative view creates the vision for the future. I believe in mixed proportional representation, not just red and blue, but whatever percentage you get, if you get 2%, 1%, you're on the governance board. Okay, all Christians are part of the priesthood of all believers. We are all priests, headship believers, and part of the bridal counterpart. I am a pastor, counsellor, community worker.
My name is Rudy de Plooy. I'm for the New Conservative and in Hamilton West. It's very easy to actually take pot shots, I think, at the government and highlight their failings. I know that a great leader said once, he says, it doesn't matter which party controls our government, but rather whether our government is controlled by the people. So this is the election where you need to understand and effectively have a good look at whether your government is actually for you or against you. What I'm saying is, do they take you seriously? When you vote for them, you actually make a contract with them and you say, I am contracting with you to go to Parliament and work on my behalf for the next 3 years. Now, if you honestly can sit and say, yep, they did exactly what I wanted, then you hire them for another 3 years and I'll go buy myself a boat and sit on the lake somewhere and have some fishing.
So first, a huge thank you for the opportunity to come talk to you this evening about party voting for ACT. So ACT represents the interests of hard-working Kiwi taxpayers and consumers. We're certainly a party of independent thinkers, a party that absolutely believes in common sense and real solutions to the problems that New Zealand face. When you take a look at the top 8 list, what you're not going to see is a list of career politicians. What you are going to see is a list of engineers, farmers, school teachers, small business owners, volunteers. Absolutely diverse group of people, gender, ethnic background, but absolutely united in a belief of a freer New Zealand and a more prosperous New Zealand. Now, what New Zealand are facing at the moment, we all know, we haven't faced before. We're going to need to change. As a country, we simply cannot afford the ongoing poor quality thinking, the poor quality spending, with the lack of accountability that we continue to see in the red-blue duopoly.
Kia ora everyone, my name is Remu Bui. I am a student at Whaiwananga o Waikato University, and I've lived in Hamilton for the last 8 years. I was born in Palmerston North and I am the Green Party candidate for Hamilton East this year. I'm running for the Greens because, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of want a decent New Zealand. I want a fairer New Zealand, I want a cleaner New Zealand, and actually I want a New Zealand that helps everyone not just survive but thrive. At the moment we've got systems that are completely broken, and I've experienced those systems. I've experienced the public healthcare system that is overflowing. I've experienced what it's like to be a renter, a current renter at the moment, and know that you're at the mercy of the landlord. And I've experienced Aotearoa in all of its glory, and it is beautiful and incredible, but in all of its shortfalls as well. We're not looking after all New Zealanders, and we need to be, and the Greens know that. And we've got plans for cleaner energy, for homes for all, for a sustainable planet. We've got it all.
Thank you, Bridget, for the invitation here tonight, and Simona, and also to Dean Wendy. I nearly said Dane, following in Tim's footsteps, but it's a worthy honour to get that title. I must admit, I feel like a bit of an imposter here. I think it's the first time as a good Catholic that I've come across the line and been in the top half of the church. So just have to bear with me getting used to being up on this side of the cathedral. But just wanted to pay respect to all my candidates and colleagues that are here tonight. First of all, it's been a fun campaign with you all. We've got, as James said, I think this is our last debate, and I really enjoy their energy and their commitment to their parties and their beliefs, and so a big thank you to all of them, because it's not easy to stand for politics. And Tim went through some very good rational reasons why you should vote National over Labour, and that's very simple for Hamilton. You know, we've got the most to lose from a Labour government. They took away our roads, our med school, and they're giving us a train which hasn't eventuated as a result. And it's a 2-hour diesel train for 160 people, so it's just the Waikato lost out of Labour and will continue to lose because they don't value us. They haven't promised anything for us in the next 3 years. But the important thing to look at going forward also is the proposition of what you want this country to look like in a few years' time, because this is a crucial election, and we need to be mindful of a country that's aspirational, hard-working, and gives people the opportunity to get ahead, rather than a country that is totally redistributive and doesn't take into account personal and community gain.
So it is important that we provide opportunities for women and for all New Zealanders to retrain into the jobs of the future. The first thing we need to do is establish a national skills register so that we actually know where the jobs are, what the most important skills are, and then we focus all of our training and our apprenticeship initiatives into ensuring that people can take advantage of that. More and more women are moving into apprenticeships. That is a very good thing. The final thing in the time that I've got available is to say we also have our Job Start policy, which will give all employers who are able to take on a new staff member who they otherwise wouldn't because they couldn't afford to, a lump sum payment at the start and then another payment after 90 days when it's been shown that the job has been successful. These are the sorts of initiatives and others that we need to do to ensure that we cope with the unemployment problem that is looming, because sadly it will get worse before it gets better.
Just one final thing is the government, as a response to COVID, has created 11,000 green jobs, and that will support both men and women in those green sectors.